Greg Shoemaker, TriStateFootball.com. I'm here at Greensburg High School with head coach Scott Moore, and the Greensburg Pirates went 10-3 last year. And Scott, you know, the one thing that seemed to stick out to me was the identity that your team had on defense. I thought that really carried over and played well, especially late in the season. They got much tougher. Talk about that.
Yeah, our defense was the backbone of our team last year. You know, going into regional, we were only giving up about 8 points a game. Chittard put a little dent into that, but you know, our defense was, when we needed a play, our defense was making the play, and it gave our offense so many more opportunities to score and do the things that we need to do offensively. But you know, we're a 4-3 scheme. Our defense did exactly what it needed to do last year. It defended the pass when we needed to defend the pass, and it played well against the run. And our conference is starting to morph into a little bit of both. You know, it used to be a big power running, eye power, you know, and outside toss and things like that. But now we're getting Lawrenceburg running some spread option, and they had their running back last year that was tremendous, and East Central still running some power things, but also doing a little spread stuff. And so now we have to defend the whole field as opposed to defending just inside the tackles, and our defense really stepped up and played very well last year.
Well, let's talk about the kids that are coming back on that side of the ball. What do you look at? Who should we be looking at, and what are some of the strengths on the defense?
You know, our defense is really based around our linebackers, like a lot of defenses are. And in order for our linebackers to make the plays, the guys in front of them need to do well. Jacob Kelso and Brad Wilson are two guys that you talked to already, and those are two guys that are going to anchor our D-line, and they have to be able to control and react to the offensive line properly, or it's going to put our linebackers in a bad spot. We're going to have to replace all three of our linebackers that started in the regional game, but we feel that we have guys coming up that are going to do a nice job. And then our DBs, you know, they're a run-stopping, pass-protecting DB, and it's not easy to do, but we got guys back there that have done a nice job, and they just need to continue doing a nice job.
When you look at your offense, the good news is you got a 3-year starter coming back at quarterback. What excites you about that side of the football?
You know, I've always felt that it takes you about 3 years to get a solid grip on this offense. There's a lot of variables going on. Every week it's a little bit different because of the defenses that we see. You know, if we play Batesville, they're going to give us one defense. The next week we play East Central, it's a totally different defense. And we got to be able to react accordingly, and that puts a lot of pressure on our quarterback at times. And Andy has done a nice job the last 2 years, and I expect nothing but great things out of him this year. And you know, we're really working on weightlifting to become injury-free this year with him, and hopefully that works out, and he has a great season.
So when you were a high school or a college quarterback,
yes,
but when you came to college or came to high school to coach, you started off coaching baseball,
yeah,
and then you ended up getting the job as the head football coach. Talk a little bit about your transition from football to baseball, back to football, and what are some of the mentality or biggest difference between coaching baseball players and football players?
You know, some of the biggest differences I think are you know, football, you got to have 11 guys doing the right thing at the right time to be successful. Baseball, you don't. You know, you need one guy sometimes doing something right, and that you're going to have success. If you have a dominating pitcher, your outfield doesn't really matter. But you know, we've had some great talent come through when I was in baseball. You know, we had a Mr. Baseball here at Alex Meyer when I was coaching, and you know, that was just one guy. We had several other guys that have been very, very good. Football, we've sent some guys on to play college ball, and we've had some success. And you know, the big difference I think is just football in Greensburg hasn't always been successful, and we've hopefully have turned the corner here and had some success the last couple of years, and hopefully we continue on that. Whereas baseball has done the same thing. When I was first here, we were okay in baseball, but then we've turned into a very good baseball school here at Greensburg. You know, they're currently undefeated and ranked in the top 10, and they're still doing great things. So it's a lot about the kids and how they train. There are a lot of similarities because a lot of the kids that play football also play baseball. So we get a lot of the same kids, and it's great to get those athletes out.
So the addition of Rushville and Connorsville to the league, talk about what that might mean to you guys. I mean, and how do you view that?
You know, I think it's exciting. I think anytime you can add to a conference that I feel is already one of the premier conferences in the state, and you add to it two teams that have had success in years past. I believe Connorsville was a seven game winner last year. Rushville has had their history and tradition, and I think it's only going to make our conference stronger. It's going to be interesting. It really is. I think that Connorsville and Rushville may not exactly know what's coming when they get into our conference. I know Rushville played in a tough conference too, but I think Connorsville might get a little eye-opener as far as how tough our conference really is. Game in and game out, our conference is a grind, and there are no easy games, and it's exciting. I'm excited to get into those two games and see what's going on.
One last thing before I let you go. We hit on it briefly, but sustaining success. Winning 10 games last year. What is the most difficult part about trying to make sure that you keep that level high?
I think one of the most difficult parts is after you've had success, kids think that you're going to have success all the time now, and that's just not how it happens at a school our size. We have to get in the weight room. We've got to get bigger, faster, and stronger, and we've got to take our practice and our games to another level, or otherwise we're right back to where we were a couple years ago at 500 or below. And a ball can bounce any way in a football game, and that can be the difference between a win and a loss, and it's difficult sometimes. So, and I alluded to how tough our conference is. We get into our conference, it's going to be a grind for 7 weeks, and it's not easy, and our kids know that. And our off-season program really hopefully puts them in a position where we can be successful, but it's up to them to get to it and get the most out of it. So we just got to keep our nose to the grindstone and just keep going.
There you go. He's a rising star in the coaching profession. If you don't already know him, you should. Scott Moore of the Greensburg Pirates.